Okay, I think I'm ready. So, today's lecture is about widespread inequality worldwide and uh, road to serfdom. Road to serfdom, I will not be able to cover today. I will try to find it someday to cover it. I'll just give you a content summary and the denationalization of money. So basically, the purpose of this lecture is first recapitulation of the last lecture, and second, widespread inequality, and the denationalization of money. Okay. So let me get started. Start with the recap of the last lecture. So I talked about problems of banks and governments. These trusted authorities, they have lost trust from the public. And then in 2008, Fed response to global scale financial crisis. Uh, they have responded with large scale asset purchases. Basically, this is creation of new US dollars out of thin air just by increasing the balance of Fed accounts held by the commercial banks. They can throw US dollars into the banking system, and then banking system can multiply these base money in terms of credits. So they can give credits out to the people so that people can buy a house or refinance their houses, and then they can save themselves from getting making defaults, right? So this type of policy response is in the on the surface it saves people's economic status, but this is kind of a morphine. Morphine is good on the surface, relieves the pain of the patients, but in the long run, this is going to give bad, effects on the people who uses it. So basically, that's their policy response. They basically respond to crisis by creating U.S. dollars out of thin air, and basically they call this helicopter money. So they create this money and then just throw it into the society. And then another issue was Congress, passed the law, basically troubled asset relief program. So this is a program to bail out big banks, right? If they go default, then it will create chain reactions of defaults. You know, one bank goes default, and then the other banks, and then the other, and then more and more banks go, defaults. Then it creates a worldwide panic of financial panic. So no one can get any cash to pay for their debts and so on. So their argument is these banks are too big to have them fair, right? So there is a too big to fail problems, you know, occurred. Okay, and basically devalue when they do this helicopter money stuff. Basically, devaluation of money continues. Then basically those people who work and earn wages, and then they save money into their bank account. their saving will melt away because the money has been devaluated. So that is kind of a bad effect for ordinary working people. Then they need to look for some place to invest their money, but that is not a easy task for average working people. So the other problem is in this type of policy, there is promotion of bubble economy. Basically, you borrow money and spend, then the economy grows. This type of arguments, this type of national policies adopted by the United States and the rich countries around the world. But in the case of on behalf of other nations who make real stuff like running the factory and produce goods and such as electronic equipments and cars and refrigerators and so on and so on. In this type of goods, there must be some workers who have to work in the factory to do that, and they make these product export to the rich countries, and rich countries buy them with helicopter money. So that's not a good situation. So that's the bad effect of a promotion of a bubble economy. And then when the bubble pops, then who are the people get hurt? Those who made the bubble, or those who are responsible to making such a bubble are elites, and they have assets in stock markets and expensive real estates, and then they get bailed out when the bubble pops. But when they make investment, risky investments, predatory investments, then they make a lot of money in the normal times. But when the bubble pops, because of the too big to fail problem argument, the Congress cannot but save their butts, using program like TARP, Troubled Asset Relief Program. So they make a lot of money during the booming time, and then when the bust cycle comes, they get bailed out. So that is it fair? So this type of policy adoption by advanced countries, and there are frequent financial crises with booms and bust cycles, and then those people who are not aware of, who are not ready to who are not aware of, and then following closely with what's happening in these advanced nations, can get hurt. Okay, so the realization is that government makes deficit spending plans, and then these deficit spending plans are can be met by creation of money out of thin air, and basically this creation of money is backed by debts, basically like a U.S. securities and then mortgage-backed securities like that. They are all debts, right? So mounting debts are accumulating by the Fed account. And then who are going to pay them? Basically, the future generation or the taxpayers or the working people who have saved their money in their saving account, but this is going to get melted away. Why? Because the interest rate is low, and this fiat money is pumping into the society, and then the money gets devaluated. So, who are those people making these decisions? There are a few elites in Washington, D.C. and Wall Street. And this bubble creation and fostering borrowing and spending economy are done by these advanced countries' elites, right? And then many ordinary people are heavily affected by them, but they are hardly aware of bad consequence. Some of them don't even know what's going on, right? Some people, ordinary people feels that they work very hard every day, but they are always poor. Okay, so but they don't know why. So basically, and Congress passes the laws aiming to bail out these big banks in a financial panic, and hard hit are those who are less aware of what's going on, and benefited are those who take advantage of the de facto standard. Okay. All right, so that is the recap of the last lecture. Okay. All right, now I will talk about this item. Widespread inequality everywhere in the world. Why? So France, Germany, Japan, Korea, America, the same thing happens. What is the reason of widespread inequality? And let us see the impact of cheap money. That's the purpose of this part of the lecture. So, Capital and Ideology, written by Thomas Piketty. He's a French, sociologist, and March 2020 he published this book, and you can find his data slide right here. You can Google it, and then you can find these charts that I'm using. So Piketty seems not concerned with the cheap money, but so he in his book, he find the causes of inequality, uh, uh, you know, in other he find other reasons for inequalities, so he's more on the side of blaming, the the inequality is due to the bad practice of capitalism. So capitalism is the problem, he's saying, and then he need to do more socialistic, policies. The government has to adapt. That's what his position is, but I don't think he is right. And then he is more concerned, therefore, about increasing tax to the rich. Okay, so using progressive tax or inheritance tax, so that the redistribution of money can be made through tax. But this is, I think, is very naive solution. if we do this, I believe that more people get poorer, right? This will destroy the middle class people. You know, this cheap money is thrown from the helicopter to the society, and then these money finally come to those area where people can be speculative, so that they can put money and make money type of markets. That is the problem. But he does not address these problems, but he's just blaming that this is due to capitalism. And then he wants to have the government adopt more socialistic solutions, such as progressive tax and inheritance tax. Okay. And by the way, even though his approach to solution is different from what I believe, he has lots of data accumulated in terms of inequality worldwide. So I will make use of his data right here. So I will show you three of his charts. He has many charts, but I will just take a look at three charts regarding inequalities around the world. And then he's basically analyzed the data from 1980 to 2018, and then purple is India, blue is United States, and so on. And this part, y-axis is the share of the top decile in total income in each nation. Okay, and then x-axis is the time. The unit is 5-year period. Okay, and then it shows that share of the top 10% in each nation in total national income has grown everywhere. In each nation, it shows that dramatic increase in percentage of share of the top 10% of people, okay, rich people. So rich people get richer, okay, over time. So most dramatic one is this Russia case. It went from 25% to 45%, and in the case of India, it started from 30% to 55%, and then United States started from 35% and got to almost 50%. Okay, so 10% own 50% of national income. And here is another chart that shows the property of the top 1% is mostly financial assets. So here it shows the composition of property. This is the example of France 2015. So it shows that, and here Y is the percentage of property. So property such as cash, deposits, real estates, or financial assets, or business assets, and then percentage of such assets. For the people who are in bottom 10%, the next bottom 10%, and so on. And then here top 0.1%, and here if we get to this point right here, top 10%, top 5%, and so on. So these are the rich people, top 1% or top 10% of people. So top 1% of people, rich people, the most of their property in the form of financial assets, such as stocks and bonds and so on. And then, this is kind of a middle, class people. Their most of their asset, like about 80% of their asset is house, their house, and a little bit of cash, and that's a little bit of financial assets. But when people are poor, most of their property is cash. But this is the demographic of property based on the distribution, I mean spectrum of people with a different richness. Okay, so in this type of situation, if central banks create money out of thin air, push into the throw them into the society, what would happen? The poor people will get the money, and once they spend this money, and then where do they go? This money will go into the real estate markets and the financial markets. But the financial markets is like 25 times bigger than these other markets. So these bigger market, players who has assets in this bigger market, they will get the most benefit. And then this is the income of top 1% is capital income. So this is the income that the people make in each class of people. So this is again percentage. So poor people and the middle class people, their income, the source of income is wages and pensions. That's it. Okay. And then they have a very little capital income, like interest from your checking and savings account. But rich people get dividends from their assets, and interest from their capital, and rent from their buildings, houses, and so on. Okay, so that's the distribution that you can see. This is again in the case of France, but I believe this is almost this looks almost the same for other major cities like German, Berlin and Seoul, New York, Los Angeles, Boston. Same thing occur, right, everywhere around the world, because the central banks around the world, they work in unison, like started by Fed putting money into the society. So the devaluation of dollar has been devalued, then euro has to be devalued as well, otherwise their value is too strong, then it is not advantageous for European nations. So they also choose to adopt the same policy of helicopter money. So they also throw their money into the society, created out of thin air again. And then same thing happens in Japan, Korea, and other countries. But Korea is a little bit conservative. Korea is very prudent in this case. So I think that's the blessing of Korea, given to Korea. Korea is very prudent, is they are not Korea and German very prudent, not trying to make helicopter monies, but still because these the world is connected by these this money, the U.S. dollars, affected by the pouring of U.S. dollars. So our society also looks the same like this. So I will show you example in the next chart. Even in the case of German cities, same thing is happening. Okay, and the Nasdaq index in this chart shows that it has grown 4 times the average index of companies registered in Nasdaq. This average index has grown 4 times during this 8-year period, and this means that the Nasdaq index has grown, double, 2 times every 4 years. So that's the chart. The chart is showing that 2009 it started from 1266 and 2017 5876. So basically almost 4 times growth. What was the reason? One of the reason is this money thrown into the society. Okay. All right. Now here, this Deutsche Welle, TV station made a documentary, and you can click this hyperlink right here. Then you can watch the video that they have made in the YouTube. So you can take a look at the video. So the title is "Money in the World Economy," and it's talking about where does all the cheap money go? That's the question. And then basically this money went to real estate markets and then stock market, and basically as the result, exploding real estate prices, zero interest rate, and the rising stock market. The rich are getting richer, and then they throw this question: what danger lies in wait for average citizens? So especially those who are working and making money by wages. Okay, those are the mostly hurt. Okay, their savings melt away. Okay, and in real estate, for example, it's not just in German cities that prices are soaring, right? London the same, Seoul the same, and New York, everywhere. Okay. Um, so and then the biggest problem, is disturbing fact is that money is moving away from real economy, where people live and make lives, and work, getting new products made and sold to other people. So real interaction of people, real transaction between people, that's the real economy. But there is no money there. But these money, because they are fake money, move away from the people, ordinary people, and go to the speculative markets like stock markets and so on. So, so that's what they are saying. And one person in the show says that this flood of money has caused a dangerous redistribution. Those who have get more, and that's what we've been saying. Um, and the with low interest rates, any money in savings account. So most ordinary people, simple people, they earn money by wages by working very hard and put their money in the savings account, but the value of their savings account melts away over time because of inflation caused by this cheap money. Uh, and those big companies or elites in the Wall Street, they can borrow cheap money for their asset acquisitions, and then they can uh, make a lot of money. And when they run into problems, they get bailed out. Okay. All right, and it says the documentary points out that it's not just the banks that need cheap money. It's not just the risky business, entrepreneurs. So do the states. They need cheap money in the name of revitalizing their cities or regions, right? But whenever they do that, the consequences are bad. Okay, so those people, the real people, the people who are working very hard, nurses, mom and pop store owners, they are the one who gets hurt, who get hurt. Okay, the documentary says. And then another documentary by Deutsche Welle is how wealth become power. And these people with money, they go to the Congress, they change the law by lobbying and putting a lot of money into it so they can do whatever they wanted to do. So it becomes a power. Okay, and then they, with a lot of money, they educate their children, and then they want their children to go the same path. But when we think about these things happening, is this useful? Is this righteous for for the sake of the our society? That's questionable, because in order for the society to advance, this speculative money making practice does not help much. Actually, money has to go to the people who invent new things, who make startups, and then introduce new products and services so that people can enjoy these products, and then they can make their lives better. So those things are the valuable things, valuable practice. But if this type of practice of bad money goes on, then the society does not get advanced, and also as the inequality grows, bad culture like money seeking culture, and abandoning. The young people tend to pay more attention to these speculative markets, and not paying attention to studying very hard and working very hard. Okay, so those are the bad consequences of this cheap money. Okay. All right, I think I'll stop right here, and then I'll continue with a little bit of a break.